Hello artists! In this tutorial today, we're going to practice our 1-point perspective. You're going to need a piece of paper, a graphite pencil, some sort of eraser. It doesn't have to be needed. This is just what I have on hand in my studio. And also a ruler. Again, mine is just what I have available in my studio. Something that has a straight edge will work. I also am using watercolor paper because I'm going to be applying India ink once the picture is done. So make sure you pick out paper that's going to hold the material that you think will serve best for whatever medium you are choosing to add color or value with. All right, let's get started. We're going to create this lake mountain scene with this dock using the concept of 1-point perspective. So we are going to need to first take our ruler and establish our horizon line. I'm going to put mine not quite in the middle of the page, but I'm going to start in the middle or the halfway point. So I found my middle. And then I'm going to scoot it up just a little bit because we want a lot of water in this scene. And then we're going to have the mountains and the sky here above. And I'm just going to lightly sketch in my horizon line. And then we need to establish our vanishing point. So this is where we are going to have our converging lines with our dock. This would happen if we were doing a city scene in our street or railroad tracks, anything that's going back to this vanishing point. It's going to give depth in our picture. I'm going to put the vanishing point not quite in the center of my page, but just a little off to the right, just to change up the view. It's pretty common to have the vanishing point right in the center of the paper. So once I found the center, you can put it there if you want it to, but I'm just gonna put mine slightly to the right. So it's just a little more unique. And you don't have to make the vanishing point that big, but I'm just going to make it a little larger just so you can see it. Okay, so this is where we are going to start using our ruler to make our lines to help us get a dock that looks like it is accurate. If we were standing, let me move this out of the way. We're standing here and we're looking out at the water. So the dock's in front of us, it stops, and we have this beautiful scene of water and mountains. But we want the dock to look like it is correct in its three-dimensional sense. It's not just going to be like it's not just going to be like this. It's not just going to be a straight flat situation where it looks kind of like we're standing on top of a diving board and then jumping into the lake. This does not, or a pool, diving board, pool, dock, lake, same. Okay, so this situation is just very flat. It's not accurate with depth. It makes sense visually, but it's very basic. It doesn't give us the accuracy of if we were actually standing here and looking out. It looks like the dock is getting smaller, and that would look more like it has depth. So we don't want to just draw this flat square or rectangle. Instead, we're going to take our ruler, make sure that it is touching the vanishing point. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see that. So what I mean by that is it's really right on that vanishing point, and I'm not going to move it as I'm drawing my line going all the way down to the bottom of my paper. So make sure that you have a good firm grip on your ruler. I'm going to actually tilt mine a little bit so the dock kind of goes out more. So this is my line right there. Move that so you can see it. So that's helping us get that set up. And then I'm going to make, so I like to try to line it up where it's straight or the midway point. So then I'm going to curve from that point. So I've got a pretty wide angle, an acute angle, if you would, all you mathematicians out there. That looks pretty big. I might actually put it in a little like this. And again, you can make your dock as wide as you want, but once you've got it figured out where the width of your dock, then you're gonna go ahead and make your reference line, this converging line with the vanishing point. I think that looks good. It'll look a little different than the sketch earlier because this paper is larger. And that's also something I wanted to point out too, is that yours is gonna look a little different. That's okay, have fun with it. Our main goal is to exercise the vanishing point to create depth with this dock, and then all of the features that we put into our scenery. All of that should show accurate perspective and depth. We can go ahead and you can determine how far you want the dock to go out. Now, realistically, if we made the dock all the way back here like this, that would be a very, very long walk. That would be one of the longest docks ever. Maybe that's a different situation, but for this, let's not put it all the way back there. Let's pretend we're at the edge. You can see like we were to jump off the dock. So let's put it here so we've got more of the water feature in the background. So again, wherever you move your ruler, you're going to decide how long do you want your dock to be. I'm gonna make mine go about here, and then you wanna make sure you're pressing down on your ruler so it doesn't move, and you're gonna go from this slanted converging line on the left all the way to the right and connect. And I am drawing a little darker than usual just so you can see it, but I would recommend that you are drawing light so that way you can erase. And I think I made mine a little crooked because I'm standing up while I'm doing this. So I'm gonna remake that. That looks so much better. Always adjust. Okay, so when I look at my dock, it does lean a little bit more to the right, so it is kind of at an angle. Yours could be in the center, that's okay, but you want to make sure that you do have your lines connecting from the bottom of your paper all the way to the top of your vanishing point. That is going to make it look super accurate. Now, if you are choosing to add some detailing to your dock, maybe with a wood texture, you want to add some lines that go left to right so it looks like the planks of the wood is going in that direction. You want to make sure that at this time you're following that straight line that you created, and you're going to just make some lines going left to right on the dock. We're going to do them up really close together here at the end of the dock, and then as we get towards the foreground, we're just going to spread them out a little bit so that it looks like there is some actual depth happening. Then we can always change these details when we add our color later on. If you're not interested in doing this look of the plank going from left to right to create these side bleed planks, maybe you want the plank to go from the bottom of your page to the end of the dock, that is an option as well. For that look, you want to make sure that you're lining your ruler up with the vanishing point, and that every time you make a straight line for the plank, that you are, I'm just going to do all the way through. You are lining up that ruler each time with the vanishing point as you scoot the ruler over. Don't let the ruler go away from the vanishing point. This is going to create the look of depth and accurate perspective as if you were actually standing on the dock. So you could choose either one, vertical planks or horizontal planks. Either way, you are going to need to erase these lines so it doesn't get confusing as we move forward, but don't get rid of that vanishing point just yet. We're gonna need it for some details. Okay, next we're gonna add wooden planks on the sides of the dock. I'm gonna create a straight line from the point on the right to determine how high these planks will be. I don't want the ones in the back to be too high because we're supposed to show depth. I used my ruler to determine how high I want the left side because I want them to match. And again, remember, we want to keep them pretty short. The ones closer to us will be taller. Next, I'm going to create a vertical line to determine the side surfaces of the planks. Once you find a width that works for you, we're going to turn our ruler and use the vanishing point to determine what the planks would look like at an angle. So this is going to give us the top of our plank. Then use those points as a reference to determine what the width of the top part of the plank would be. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. Depending on how wide you made yours or how small, yours might look a little different, but check with your vanishing point to make sure it's accurate. Next, I'm going to use those two diagonal lines as a reference for the plank on the left-hand side of the dock. Now, because the dock is not fully in the center and it comes out a little farther to the right, these planks on the left are going to look a little different. We want to make sure they're accurate with the vanishing point, but they're going to be what's called foreshortened because of the view of where I've positioned the dock. I'm using the vanishing point to determine the top of the plank, and I like to extend my lines out a little farther. I can always erase and adjust later on. Then I'm going to use a vertical line to connect those two corners that were created and extend them down to the dock. You can go ahead and erase all the lines around the plank. I ended up making my planks a little higher than my reference line, but make sure you check that your points match up. So I'm going to double check mine since I ended up extending them. And then if they match, the perspective looks good, we can move on to the next two planks. We're going to do these a little closer to the foreground, but not quite right on the edge of the paper. So I'm going to kind of go past the middle point of the dock and find a space that I like. I'm re-outlining the plank so I can use these points as they touch the edge of the dock as a reference. I'm going to make a vertical line from this point and then make another vertical line from the next point. And again, I like to do them a little tall. You can always erase. And then line your ruler up with the vanishing point, and this is going to help you determine the top of the plank. Now, hopefully your eyeballs are telling you this looks a little weird right now, because that's not correctly in perspective. We need a horizontal line to make the plank look like it is accurate. So right now it's like a diamond. We need to use our ruler and connect the point all the way across to make a flat horizontal line so that it looks like the top of the plank is sitting flat. Now we can go ahead and erase all the guidelines around the plank. Check your lines to make sure they're vertical. Check your angles, check your vanishing point with the points of your plank. And then once you've done this, we're going to go ahead and repeat these steps on the left-hand side. I'm going to keep this in real time so you can pause as needed, but feel free to speed up if you have the hang of it and you want to move forward. I want to point out that this line is going to go farther down on the dock, and that is okay. That's because on this left-hand side, we're looking at these planks at a different angle, so we're going to see the plank where it goes down farther like it's going into the water. Now it's time to add some landforms to the scene to give us a more dynamic picture. Go ahead and lightly sketch a mountain range in your background. Remember, keep your pencil marks light. And then we're going to go ahead and sketch some land masses in the middle ground to diversify our landforms and make our picture a little more interesting. And last, let's add some details to the foreground. I'm choosing to add some foliage. Remember to sketch lightly, and you can add whatever details you would like to this area. Lastly, I challenge you to add color to finish this work of art. You could use pencil, you could use markers, soft pastel, the choice is up to you. If you're interested in painting with watercolor India ink, check out my tutorial to complete the picture as featured on the left. Happy creating!